of things and speakers around IoT, and many of the names he was mentioning are kind of quite familiar with me. I have interacted with many of those speakers in one or the other forums, so I'm sure you already had enriching experience learning about IoT, and you might find few of them as a repeat, because I'm not very sure what all is being covered or not. But I would still try to justify like another hour and a half about IoT and IoT security documents. So with that, I just want to confirm a thumb rule about Q&A. So Weber, I typically what I feel is I love doing more interactive sessions. So to me, I'm perfectly fine if you want to ask any questions during my presentation. So you can just stop me then and there if you have any questions, any comments, any feedback, any suggestions. Okay. Apart from that, we'll certainly keep some time parked towards the end for open Q&A. And Vaibhav, I would need your help if something is coming on the chat box, because I could only see my full screen presentation here. Google Meet interface is a little different. I can't see the chat box questions if something is coming up. So
Yes,
can
I
you
will
feel free
forward
to
that question.
yeah. So feel free to stop me if you see any comment coming up, or any questions coming up in the chat box. Okay. With that, let's get started. Myself, Preet Yadav, and I'm R&D Associate Technical Program Manager, working for NXP Semiconductors. So typically, we used to have all these FDP and other sessions in person, and it was easy to make a connect with the audience to know each other better. But let me try to do my best to virtually connect with you guys. So I am based out of Gurugram, which is on the one side of Delhi and the other side of Noida. I'm not sure whether you guys are familiar with it, but I travel. I start from a state of Haryana, Gurugram, go all the way to Delhi to reach out to Uttar Pradesh, Noida, my office. In all good days, but yeah, being in virtual world, I'm working from home for more than a year and a half now. And I'm fond of traveling, reading. I'm into numismatics and philately. So if we share any of these common interests, so we have more reason to speak and connect, maybe towards the end of the session, or maybe later offline. So this is briefly about me, and let's see how we can collaborate, or work with each other more better. So I'm being associated with a few of the industry forums and the industry bodies, be it IESA, VLSA, Society of India. I'm responsible of running the Northern Regional Electronic Forum, which was launched in collaboration with VLSA, Society of India, and IESA. And I'm contributing to CAS, SIDA. I'm part of the Execom for CAS Society Bangalore chapter, and I'm part of few of the other Triple initiatives, and I'm associated with IET, IEEE, Indian Society of Systems for Science and Engineering, and VLSA Society of India. So if any of these interests you, then probably we have more reason to talk, speak, and discuss, and I would be more than happy if I can help out any one of you on the call, for anything. I've been to Scouts and Guides. That was a good experience during good early days, and I've done a bunch of publications, not as many as Weber or most of you might be having, but a bit of it. And I keep on participating, in various forums across the globe to, do knowledge sharing, to kind of discuss what I know, and to learn from all other audience. And I would like to keep this session on the same track. It's not that I know something and you are only at the receiving end. I want this interaction to be more interactive, wherein whatever I know, probably I can try to describe it to you, so that that helps you in your present working or something, some research work which you might like to take up in the future. At the same time, I'm pretty open to any of the learnings. It's mostly, I would say, most of the candidates here would be, mid or senior level faculties in various institutes across, India. So it's a true honor, privilege here to come and discuss with you. So kindly don't hesitate, to stop me during the presentation whenever you have any questions. So with this, I would briefly like to introduce about the organization I work for. I'm not, running any marketing or publicity slides here, but just a brief, about my background and about the organization I belong to. So at NXP, we believe in secure connections for a smarter world. Our digitally enhanced world is evolving to anticipate and automate. So NXP is a global semiconductor company creating solutions, those that enable, secure connection and infrastructure for a smarter world. And NXP focuses on research, development, and innovation in its target markets. So if you see this topic of IoT and what we do at the core of NXP is pretty connected. We strongly believe in security, connected, and a safe world for tomorrow. Uh, Majorly, we are into these 6 segments. Automotive, we have a huge market share in the automotive industry. Then industrial, mobile, smart home, security, and communication infrastructure. So these are the domains we play in. We have 16 years of combined experience and expertise with operations of more than 30 countries globally, and we had a strong workforce, about 29,000 engineers spread across the globe, and we are based out of Eindhoven, which is in Netherlands. Not sure how familiar this city name is with you, but Eindhoven is where the Philips Light Museum is being located. Okay, so we have a good annual revenue, as you see on the screen, and out of this 29K employees, there's a strong engineering, workforce of about 11K employees, and which believe in day-to-day innovations. So with this brief about the organization I belong to, and the kind of impact and relevance we have to the connected world, let me get started with the exact topic. So how I have break down this whole presentation is, we'll initially talk about IoT, how it started and how it evolved over the time, and what all are the typical challenges we see, and then jumping into the IoT security, what challenges we see, and what kind of and why we see those challenges. It's not what we see, but why we see, and then we'll conclude the talk. So with that, let's get into what is the IoT. So the Internet of Things that has become very sought out of race in industry, and if you really see the publications in say last 1 decade, you will find out every other research work or paper has one or the other aspect of IoT. So I don't have that data handy, but you would see it's not something new. It's not something which started very recently. IoT and or IoT kind of applications were always there for quite many years with us, but it's just, I would say that we have realized recently in the last few years how to make best use of it. Or I would say that technology has become quite cheap and affordable and well penetrated across the globe, and that's why we see more of IoT applications happening around us. So many of the folks they assume that this is the next wave after the internet and telecommunication waves, which really revolutionize the whole globe, and so do India in a huge sense. And I would say that we really missed out few of those technology waves in the past, when this whole telecommunication thing started. We were still not able to get to the last mile connectivity in a few parts of India, the landline phones. Okay, we got it to a good extent, but not to the extent, wherein we can teach each, reach out to each and every corner of India. So, but with the advancement in internet and now the applications of IoT, I think we have reached out to every part, every corner of remotest of our country. So thanks to the I would say a good paced advance technology advancement and affordable technology, and that's how we are able to make a huge impact to our daily lives with IoT applications. So many industry experts, they predict this wave to be rolling the industry for next decade, and I would call it it should be decades. Many of the next decades would be getting impacted with the IoT. So this is a complete change in the interaction of the cyber physical world. So how the physical things or the physical world communicate with the the cyber world. So with this, let's try to understand the whole IoT landscape and how I'm gonna bucketize them in three parts. And in the upcoming slide, we are going to talk about those three parts. So let's briefly touch upon how this whole term got evolved. So to my best knowledge, the IoT term was first used in 1999 to refer a network of objects embedded with sensors and wireless. In 2002, Kevin Ashton, who was a co-founder of Auto ID Center at MIT, he quoted in Forbes magazine that we need and Internet of Things, a standard way for computers to understand the real world. Okay, so this article was entitled as as Internet of Things, and I think it's one of the first documented use of the term in the in the literal sense. So although during the presentation we'll talk about, it's not that this whole started in 1999. This started way back, but the more formalization happened around that time, and people now call it with different different names. It's Internet of Things, Internet of Everything, and cyber physical system, and virtual physical system and whatnot. Okay, so let's talk about the IoT sphere I was mentioning. So we'll try to segment this whole IoT into three parts, and as I said, I would like this session to be interactive. So I would pause here and ask, what comes to your mind seeing all these pictures on the screen? Any guesses what all these are?
These are things.
These are things. Great. Anyone else?
Yes, you can say yes.
Gadgets.
Gadgets. Thank you, Ashwini and Webab. Anyone else like to put in the thoughts? So I see there are 67 participants and we heard only 2 of you. Okay, so there's nothing wrong or right when we talk, when we discuss. It's just I'm putting together my views, and I would request you kindly come forward and put in your views so that we might end up learning from each other better. So yeah, Mr. Wabab, and I'm missing the other name, if I'm not wrong, Harshni V.
Machine.
Machine, yeah. So these are the varied devices, gadgets, or things, and if you see more or less we get got to use them in the day-to-day life very frequently, and without giving a much head to see what kind of impact they have. Now let me talk about the second sphere in my terms about IoT. So any guesses what comes to your mind when you see all these picture symbols here?
Communication technology.
Yeah. Kriti, thank you. Thanks, Kriti Panwar Bhatti. Communication technologies. Any other guesses?
everything connected to the wireless mode. Some answer.
Great. Yeah. Everything connected to the wireless. Thanks, Satyabama. Any other guesses here? Okay, so you're right. These are the various interaction medium. It's like how one thing communicates or connect to the other thing, or I would say one gadget to the other gadget, or one kind of application to the other application. Okay, so let me move forward, and I'll pause for the last question on this slide, and it's not question, it's just a means to understand what's going on your mind seeing all this. So it's like we have that Hindi thing, bujo to jane. So let me ask you, what strikes your mind, and probably that would help me out to improve my slides. Yep.
Storage.
Storage, that's great.
Data EXP. The answers are coming from that checkbox.
Oh, not an issue. Yeah, I would request if you can help me to read that out. So Satyavama mentioned storage. Engineer Nagesh said data analysis. Harshini mentioned network, database, data storage, and data analysis. That's really great. So Harshini, I have a request for you. If you can kindly go on mute and you just unmute yourself when you speak, that would be really nice. Thank you. Yeah. So great. I don't think so ever you really needed me here. Folks are well aware about the things, and I'm glad I'm interacting with the audience for whom things are making sense here. So these are the various data storage and analysis things. So all these three put together, stitched together, makes our IoT. So if you really see these devices, these devices are not new. These devices were there with us for quite many years or decades, I would call, and so do the communication and interaction medium, and the storage and analysis capabilities in one or the other forums. So what do you think, why this whole IoT term became a so hype now, than what it was earlier? Any guesses here? Any thoughts which comes to your mind that okay, why IoT now so strongly, and why it was not few years or decades back?
Hi, sir. This is Satyabama. Sir,
Yeah.
IoT came like that we can control on any electronic devices from anywhere in the world. We need not sit in a particular place to operate or to collect or to see, to monitor it. We can sit anywhere and we can operate and we can monitor and we can get the data. So for that, we are seeking for an IoT.
Oh, great. Satyama, may I know from which institute you are?
Sir?
You are from which institute? Where?
Sir, I am from PhD Polytechnic College, Coimbatore.
Oh, thank you. Thanks, Satyama. So I think I would get to learn a lot from you guys. Okay. Any other perspective?
Since this is KT, semiconductor technologies are evolving at a very high pace. So the miniaturization is one of the primary factors which is contributing in the rapid development of this IoT devices.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Thanks, Riti. And you are from?
I'm from Devela University only, Department School of Electronics.
Oh, great.
Thank
great.
you.
Good perspective. Anyone else would like to speak or mention their thoughts here?
Can I answer?
Yeah. Anyone? Yeah, sure. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Because we have now fast and more communication systems, and then we have more computation capabilities. We have more storage capabilities. Secure communication is also. And Satyamama also said that the more security is there, so that the IoT is doing.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you. Thanks, Vaibhav. Anyone else before we proceed forward? I don't know, Vaibhav, do you have any prizes for the folks who are more interactive or participating in the session? But I love more in person or more interactive talks. So you guys nailed it correctly. So what was happening? All these devices were there for many years here, and what has happened in the recent I would say in the last 1 decade or so. the devices have become really affordable. Okay, so it's like I still remember around I think around year 2000 when we wanted to buy our first mobile phone. My elder brother wanted to buy, and we went to a shop, and this guy had a that
Sorry
phone
to
in a.
interrupt you.
Yes.
We have
Yeah.
one question from Komal Jadhav. Komal,
Okay.
can you ask?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Can I give the answer?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah. Please.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. These all things were there from many times, but now the thing
Mm-hmm.
is that we can have the things that can be connected to the network, which will consume low power, low network, and moreover, we can control all these things remotely with the
Mm-hmm.
help of internet. So that is the beauty of internet IoT,
Mm-hmm.
and you know. there will be many systems means nowadays there are many systems in existence, and in future as well there will be many systems which will be consuming low power, low network, and we can handle those systems remotely
Mm-hmm.
without having much knowledge about all these things, like how is it been implemented. But
Mm-hmm.
though a person is not having much knowledge about the technology, they can handle these things easily.
Oh, great, great. Thanks for putting together a good perspective, Komal. So, Komal, you are from which institute?
Sir, I'm from VPKBIT, Baramati, Maharashtra.
Oh, great. Thanks, Komal. So, all these interaction sessions would help us to, discover our colleagues sitting in various part of India. And could see Satyabhama mention all electronic devices can be operated, monitored, controlled, get the data and send the data through wireless technology, all the data stored in cloud virtual memory. Yeah, great. So you guys nailed it right. So as Komal and Satyama mentioned, all these technologies were there for quite many time. And the example I was giving, the first phone which we bought up at a house was, not a packed phone. It was just in one of the poly bags, because those times phones were so expensive in India, with all the duties that people used to get them from the outside India and used to get only in the gray market. Okay, and so do I remember the initial phone call call charges. Even to receive a call, we were supposed to pay about 12 rupees per minute, if I'm not wrong. So once we have the number displayed on our screen, we used to think thrice, should I pick up the call or not, because it's going to charge me 12 rupees just to take up that call. Okay, and so do the days were there when we were using things like pager, where only text used to come up. Okay, and these were symbols of kind of show off at that time, because the technology was so expensive. Okay, so with the time, what has done is I remember the other participant bring up the perspective of semiconductor miniaturization. So with semiconductor, everything got miniaturized and cheap, affordable, and that help on other perspective, which was low power. The devices are less bulky, because we have smaller batteries which can last for longer time. So all these things have really given a push for the whole IoT perspective. So we have technology which is cheaper than what it was. We have technology which is more affordable, easy, viable, can you can charge once and it can last for long. And because we still have many places in our country where probably you might not be getting power around the clock. So if you charge your device, and if it lasts for, say, a day or two, that would be excellent. So that this whole means the advancement in data storage, advancement in various kind of memories, and various compute or analyzing technologies like in-memory computer, etc., has made things really faster. So all this stitched together has really evolved the IoT. So let me get to the basic concept of IoT. So it's a gateway between the digital and the physical world, or the cyber, or the real world, I would call. Or in simple terms, we can call it, it's made of devices, systems, processors, protocol, transceiver, storage, sensors, etc. Okay. The uniqueness here is the IoT. It's the capability to combine the information from the various gadgets around us in a innovative way to provide us analyze meaningful data. Okay, so what was happening? We were having a lot of things earlier as well. Each one of us probably was carrying a phone. A decade or two back. As I said, around 2000 was the first time I used a mobile phone. But now what has happened is that phone has transformed from regular phone to a smartphone. Okay, your television is now a smart television. Your refrigerator is a smart refrigerator. Your oven is a smart oven, your cars are smart cars. Okay, so everything has become smart, and the moment you add up that smart thing, that means this guy can now communicate with various other gadgets available in your surrounding, inside your house, inside your car, or inside your office. And that communication is very fast. Someone brought up this advancement in communication. 5G is already there, and there are a lot of deliberation already going on 6G. So the communication is quite rapid. So all this stitched together has really evolved this whole IoT all these years. So let's talk about the devices could be range from anything from smartphone to smartwatches to your health monitor to laptops to palm tops to all the toys we see inside our house. And the interaction mediums, there are multiple of them. I just penned down few of them. It could be Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, a BLT module, Zigbee, Mirafora, eSIM, 5G, UWB, which is very interesting technology, and NXP has a good stake, high time and ultra wideband connectivity, then RFIDs and Z-Wave and whatnot. And all this, combined with the ability for the information to store, to analyze, to segment. So this altogether is a huge, huge technology sphere, because what has happened is somehow we are kind of flooded with the information. Okay, so earlier, suppose during my research days, I can recall well. So I used to download a IEEE paper and used to store it in a floppy disk, and whose storage, if I'm not wrong, was about 1.2 MB, and then take it to my huge desktop, insert the floppy, and I could read through those IEEE paper. And now you have everything well stored and huge storage capacity. And the other part is how do I analyze this information? So the one of the challenge which people are seeing in big data and other domains is like the information is so huge, so vast, that we are devising out ways how do we systematically store this information. Okay, so it's like if you have lot of good text written and you can't interpret this text, okay, then it's of no use. So let me give you example. Let's say that we have a very nice research paper, but it is in a Japanese language, and I suppose a person like me who can't read Japanese, it would be it's a precious thing, but would be of no use to me. Okay, so just assume that there's a huge bank of information, but the information is placed in a such way, stored in a such way that you can't make any meaning out of it. Then it's of no use. Okay, if you can't analyze those information. And if you have a technique where you can get the raw data, then segment in a meaningful way, so that whenever you need to take a call of action based on the information or data available, then it would do wonders. So this is the whole typical IoT sphere, I feel, which can be segmented in these three parts. Okay, so now let me take a pause. As I said at the beginning, I love interactions, I love talking. So let me take a pause here and ask this question to you. What do you feel is one of the very first IoT example, which you might have experienced personally, or which you might have, read about, and you feel, okay, look, that was the first IoT thing I guess would have, come into the real world use. So any thoughts here?
First, I have seen a automatic vending machine.
Oh. Great, great. And what was that? Which kind of vending machine was it?
We are working on that project with the IIT Indore. We are developing that in back 2000 around 18.
2018. Okay.
Yeah, 2018. With the help, 2019, sorry, 2019 with the help of some alumni of School of Electronics. Then from Infosys USA, and they would like to means a startup at Indore, and they are starting the project with the automatic vending machine that is IoT enabled. The first time in 2019, I have heard this term IoT. What is IoT and what is
Oh, great, great. That's nice, Vaibhav. I see Satyabama mentioned also vending machine. So Satyabama, I would like to know which kind of vending machine. Smart water heater. Okay. Alexa, great. Pitidhar mentioned Alexa. Kamal Yadav mentioned Google Maps. Okay, great. Anything else? Anyone want to speak about or mention what you feel? What you feel that. Okay, this is the first IoT thing I can think of. Okay, I see. Science Tech Technology, some muted.
Yeah, good morning, sir. This is Aditya. Yeah,
Yeah,
good morning,
yeah.
sir. Yeah, so I worked on the Rabbit processor early 2008 or 9. So in that we have created some page like HTML page, and from that HTML page we have operated some small kind of means LED on off. We did it. So that time this IoT is not come into in the pictures. So I think that from that way this IoT examples are come, and nowadays this IoT IoT terminology is most popular.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah,
and you're from which institute?
Yeah, I'm Scientific Technologies, Indore.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
So we have folks from the industry side as well. That's great.
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
So I see few more responses here in the chat window. Komal mentioned Google Map, Madhu IoT energy monitoring for smart cities. Harshini also mentioned smart cities, Pallavi smart parking, Sabita smart homes. Okay. And further Pallavi automation, motor on and off. Reena mentioned smart environment, and Madhu again smart garbage collection and management. Great, Indore is famous for this, to be a clean city. They have a lot of smart things happening. Great. So this is a huge variety, Yeah. But let me ask this question one more time. Probably, we are talking about what thing we kind of personally experienced or used. Now I would ask whatever you might have read or heard, or you can think through. Okay, the very first IoT device which you could call up, so you can unmute and answer.
Good morning, sir. I think I have used a smartwatch, and during this second wave, all the patients at home, all of us were infected. So in separate room, we were using the isolation. During that time, I used the smartwatch to monitor the oxygen level and all. So that time I feel, yes, IoT is there. It is helping us. Thank you.
Great. Madhumita, you are from?
I'm from Xavier Institute of Social Service, Ranchi. Though it is a management institute, but I belong to IT department. So I was having a keen interest in IoT, so I have joined this FDP.
That's really excellent.
Very technical for me.
No, that's fine. I would try to simplify it, and maybe you can connect offline. And if you guys have any keen interest towards this, because that's the beauty of IoT or any of the advanced technology. Those are not limited to the traditional electronics or computer science or IT engineer. And I see a lot of such use case in management side. Probably we can connect offline about that. Thank you. Thanks for putting together your perspective, Madhumita.
It's a smartwatch, smart TV, then Wi-Fi camera, these things we are using. So
Great, great. Thanks, Satyava. Smartwatch, smart TV, Wi-Fi camera, and
yes.
that brings me to another thing. The smartwatches, the recent Grasim series, you will see an XV chip in it. Okay, and I'm also excited to buy one. Probably I need to crave in some budget of 50K plus for now for this the new series of smartwatch. But yeah, that's another example. Okay, anyone else before we proceed further? Okay, so let me give you a hint. Can you make out what it is? Any guesses quickly? The first one gets a chocolate.
ATM machine, some
ATM
vending machine.
machine.
ATM machines. So wherever you need to arrange multiple of the chocolates is, so I think Satyabhama, Madhu, and Ashni or someone else also said ATM. Okay, yeah. So this is one of the earliest example I could dig through. It's an automatic teller machine, but it was a little different. So this was this whole ATMs the I would say first kind of thing. They were rolled up in late 1960s, and if I'm not wrong, it was 1967, and I think this came up somewhere in UK, where this machine was a little different than what we see these days in our vicinity. So here you need to punch in something hardcore, or some number, and it would dispense you a fixed amount of cash. It was not that smart, that you can choose between the currency notes, and you can find make out you want $100 or you want 200 rupees or what 10,000 rupees, but it was giving a fixed kind of amount. But I feel that was one of the very earliest IoT examples. So as you see, this is something which has more revolutionized now, but was in existence for years. And I would give it a correlated examples, like a lot of our day-to-day events which we do celebrate. It's not something which those who have who are more evident now, but those were there for quite many ages. But it's like now with widespread advertisement, or I would say widespread communication medium, we are more aware about it. Okay, so and as like this whole communication and ad stuff has a good or the bad of it, we'll discuss in the upcoming files. But this is I feel is one of the earlier example of IoT. So Weber, I don't know how you're gonna ship out the chocolates to the winners. Sorry, I committed on your behalf, or you just let me know and I'll do that offline with the winners.
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about few of the IoT examples here. One of them, which is very recently, as Madhumita was mentioning, I think she personally experienced, or someone in the family, about the healthcare and how we communicate or interact with the the right kind of healthcare aid, in terms of the COVID pandemic. So, or in general, if you see, there's a whole network of within the body. We have a lot of gadgets these days. Which are being there could be some gadgets which are implanted inside our body, like pacemakers. There could be gadget which we are wearing over a wristwatch, a Fitbit, or a mobile phone which we are carrying, to the external sensors or gadgets in our office, in our houses placed in. So all these pan ban WAN kind of devices put together makes a whole IoT system. So if as you can see on the screen, these gadgets, they communicate with each other, they communicate with the external systems or devices. So this whole system within the body, externally what we are wearing, within the car I'm traveling, or within the house I live, or workspace I work, getting connected, interacted is a good example of IoT. So let me ask this question: can you make out what is PAN and BAN?
PAN, personal area network.
Oh, great. And BAN?
Wireless area, wide area networks.
Body area net.
Yeah,
Sir,
body area, industrial area, and WAN is the
wide area network.
wide area network. Great, Satyama, Kirti, and Harshini. So, I think this with this all, I feel the audience is already having a good, good understanding about it. But these are the real-time examples we have seen and being implemented probably maybe within our city or different parts of our country. But this is how this whole stuff is getting revolutionized, and I would call COVID. I would say thanks to COVID in a manner, this the COVID has made us, it has given us a hard push to really explore all these opportunities, because these things were there for quite some time, but we had as a human, I talk in few of the session more on the philosophical side, okay. So from that perspective, as a human, we we are not that comfortable or open to the changes, okay. And there, I remember this book, I think I read about 2 decades back, not full of it, You Can Win by Shiv Khera. And he had this line in this book which says that we know the changes for our betterment, but still we don't want to change. So I don't know how many of you agree with this quote. Anyone on the call agrees with this? Okay, seems like everyone here on the call is open for the change, but this is a traditional human nature. I think Madhumita was from management side. They might have done some such kind of studies wherein a lot of us are not very open to the latest technologies, or though those technologies might be helping us out in the long run, but we saw that due to the COVID or pandemic, a lot of those things have started. I know a lot of companies never thought that they can do a whole chip tape out while sitting working from home, but things are happening. We at NX, we have done multiple of such tape outs during the whole last year and a half in the pandemic, okay. And similarly, all these proliferation of all these gadgets and devices has really gone multiple x with this pandemic situation. So let's take another example of home control system, which many of you mentioned. So now the washing machine you have in your home is no more a traditional machine; it is a smart machine. And the cameras, the temperature system, the showers, the ovens, and everything is a smart thing. You need not to be at home to turn on or turn off your your air conditioning, or say even your washing machine, or for that sake the ovens are so smart that they know that, okay, this guy is gonna wake up at say 6:30, and they would like to have a toast by 7, and the toaster would get turned on, so that you have a hot toast available the moment you want to grab your breakfast. Similarly, the moment you want to step out of your house to get to your car, you would you can command the car that turn on the air conditioning, so that the moment I'm inside my car, the ambience or the temperature is to a level which suits my personal choice. Okay, so all these automation is really in place. We are still using it, but might be few of those features are still available on a high-end category of gadgets. But as we move forward, I'm sure all these technologies would become more cheaper and affordable, and we'll see more use cases happening. Similarly, this whole tree, which shows how from the software perspective, it is important to penetrate to various IoT application, be it a smart energy, smart parking, smart home, smart grid, smart lighting, smart cars, smart tags, and smart health, and whatnot. So all these are applications. Earlier we used to get into a parking, take 2 rounds to find out a single free available slot. Now at the entrance of your parking itself, you can make out, look, there is a one slot available on 3rd floor, 2nd wing, wherein you can go and park your vehicle. And even it shows whether that slot is for a sedan class car or an impact car or a huge SUV. So you have all those things available on a click. And similarly, the lights are now smart lights. You need not to keep them turned on every time, so those can make out the ambient light inside your premises, and then accordingly even increase or decrease the the brightness of it to see what kind of adequate light you need. And we have a lot of advancements in autonomous vehicle, which is a core interest area for me. And at NXP, this is where we focus on a lot of ADAS and other markets. So all these are various examples which we are using in our day-to-day life. So before I step into the more deeper part of the securities, any questions, any comments, any feedback so far? Anything you liked about it? Anything you want me to more tweak down? Or anything you haven't disliked and you want me to take care of that part in the rest of our conversation? Okay, I see a question here. Madhu mentioned, as you said, inertia. I'm not able to understand that well, but I see this another one. So Madhu, would you like to phrase your question, Madhu Kumar? Okay, so I see a question from Palvi.
Yes.
That can you explain what is smart grid applications of our smart grid? Okay, so Palvi, how you're getting your electricity in your house? Palvi, can you hear me? You are there on the call? Okay, I'm not sure whether she can hear as well. Yeah. Yes. Okay. She's on the call. Okay. So Palvi, smart grid is, we have the grid in our, in our country, multiple of them, and in our, sub segments. So presently, these grids are the traditional grids, the huge one, and I could see, one of this electricity generation thing at Bhakra is in Punjab, place Nangal, where it's a huge setup which was done in British era, and wherein they supply a huge part of electricity to different parts of the state, or I would say neighboring state. So now the smart grid is a grid which can sense the energy consumption. Okay, so the meters at our house are now smart meters. And presently I think we are still not making best use of it. We are just using these are still solved the partial purpose of us, that you one need not to come to your house to take a electricity consumption reading of your meter. The meters can directly wirelessly communicate and tell, okay, this is the number of units you have consumed. But what I foresee would be, we would be able to see the pattern of uses. Okay, so if we see a traditional household scenario, you'll see the gadgets in kitchen are used more during the first half, or during the the morning half. I would call it early morning for few of us, or probably I would call in general the gadgets inside the kitchens are more used up to say 8 or 9 a.m. We can generalize this. Okay, and then probably you would see that the gadgets, I would say the cooling gadgets or air conditioning gadgets in northern part of India probably would be used more towards the peak season. Like I'm based out of Delhi, Gurugram here, and the air conditioning uses is pretty high this time. Okay, so similarly, these kind of smart meters would try to learn over the period of time your energy consumption trend. Okay, what kind of appliances or what kind of consumptions you do at what time of the day. Okay, and so they can make out, okay, this is the time where most of the gadgets are on sleep. Okay, and you use least of the power, or these are the times where you're using most of the electricity. So a pattern can be created out of your personal uses of a particular house. And now what would happen is, from this one use of your house, uh, you can draw pattern for a say ABC house. Then gradually let's try to extend that. This can be a pattern of your whole lane you live in, and then you expand it further, probably the sector you're living in, and then gradually a sub part of the city, where you do the analysis of power consumption. Okay, and now you make it little bigger, on the sub city or multiple cities level. You can get this data, and now your grid, which has now become a smart grid, can make out, okay, what time there is the most of the energy consumption, or what time the peak is happening, what time the the downward peak is happening. And it might be possible that in a city A the peak could be at some other time, in city B it could be on some other time. And there are a lot of criteria. Probably the other city might have more industries, or probably the other cities might have more of institutional areas. Okay, so that consumption uses might differ. So now, based on all these facts, the smart grid can adjust its production. Okay, or probably I would say supply to different areas, assuming, okay, these are the areas which would have the peak at this time, so I should do a delta on the peak, so that no transformer goes out of function, and everything goes smooth. So that's way everything would be analyzed. This is, I would still say, in our local context, still work in progress. Most of things are done on manual basis, but over the as we further advance in this technology, this would be happening. Okay, so a pattern can be taken out on an individual basis, on a household basis, on a sub locality basis, then on the city basis, and accordingly the grid functioning or supply would be done. Does this answer your question, Pallavi? Okay, I can't hear yes or no from her, but I suppose I was able to justify this. Okay. Oh, she said yes. Great. Any other questions before I move forward? Okay, if not, let's move forward towards the IoT security. So as like any technology, IoT also has a darker side of it. Okay, and whenever there is a new technology revolution happening, it always has a good, bad, and ugly side of it. Okay, so as most of the IoT devices, they are built with the concept of always on, and this always on thing brings a lot of other challenges for the given technology. Okay, so the recent evolution has seen the best secure devices getting compromised when you connect them to the internet. Okay, so I would say that it's easy to secure something physically than in the virtual world. So if you have we secure our valuables inside a well locked, or I would say double locked keys in our house, or we secure our whole household with the good doors and latches. But it is really difficult to secure something which is over the which is exposed to the cyber world, which is over the internet, and especially if the device is on round the clock. Okay, so this is my perspective, that in today's world, it's easy to physically secure a device than securing a device which is connected to internet around the clock. So it's like if I really want to secure my house, what I would do is I'll have a strong probably metallic door at the entrance, which can be latched well, and the device can be secured, because if no one can get inside the first door, then rest of the things are always secured. But at the same time, if we need to talk in terms of the IoT devices which are connected around the clock, then that comes brings up the new level of challenges. So let's see how this whole phase shift has happened to IoT devices. So I strongly believe this, that IoT security has moved from nice to have to must to have era now. Anyone with me on this particular stuff? Do you believe this is right thing? If so, then why? Any comments here? Yeah, this looks like I'm only alive here, and rest are either busy in their work or having a nap.
All nodes converts to the insecure internet full of hackers. Madhu Kumar.
All nodes converse through the insecure internet full of hackers. Great. Hence need security to provide privacy. Anyone else?
Because we have a open communication system, so when we transfer our means important information to the network, so that can easily hack by any hacker.
Great.
So because of that, we must have the security perspectives in data systems. We are sharing our personal data, personal information over the net.
Yes, Vaibhav, that's right. Harshini, we mentioned recent outbreak of plague virus, hence security is a must. Okay. Anyone else? So folks, you can unmute and speak, or you can text, whichever way if you feel more convenient. Dr. Tripti Nagare mentioned need to save data from other hackers. Yeah. So Tripti, let me ask you this question. If you can unmute and give me the answer. How you save your, safeguard your value beings? Dr. Tripti Nagare.
Yes, good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good morning. Yeah, tell me.
Sorry, good morning. Sir, actually, there are different types of data which we need to save because like in marketing area, there is a huge data and which others wants to hack because of the competitive in the other or in this field. Like in other field also, like in industries. So someone wants to hack data from other industry like that. So we need to secure it. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thanks,
Thank you, sir.
Dr. Tripti. Tapesh Sodia mentioned digital era needs high security services. Madhu said, make others not to hack your system designed with your own requirements, hampering its very purpose. Okay. Satyabhama mentioned to secure our data. But let me ask you, Satyabhama or Madhu or Tapesh, that how you are personally securing your, any of your physical stuff. I'm not talking about any of your IoT devices or data. I'm talking about the physical real world things, how you secure them.
So we have to keep it in locker or some secured setup to store our things.
Okay.
Which only we have to access it.
Okay. So let me ask you another pinpointed question. Okay. So let's take an example of any vehicle, any any two-wheeler or three-wheeler or four-wheelers that how you secure. Let's assume your car.
I'm using key.
You are using key. Okay. Anyone else? Anything else on this? Okay, so let's take Satyabhama's example. She mentioned she secure her car using a key. Putting up a lock. Okay, so now let me ask a question. If you want to buy a car, would you say that okay, if the car is having mechanism to lock, I'll buy, or I can still buy a car even if it doesn't have a mechanism to lock? What would be your answer?
No, I should buy a car with having a locking mechanism. And even though additionally we will be providing an automatic locking system other than what the manufacturer provided. So we need a strong encryption to protect that.
Yeah. Thanks, Satyama. But so that means if I want to sell you a car which doesn't have a key to lock it or any mechanism to lock it, you will not buy it.
Yes, sir. Surely we
Okay.
won't buy it.
Anyone who disagree with this comment here on the call? If I want to sell off a car or a vehicle to you which is not having a security key or a mechanism to safeguard or lock it, would you buy it or not? Anyone who says yes, I'll buy.
No, sir. Obviously, we won't buy. We are buying the things to access our convenient, but we have to keep the things safe. So we'll be expecting some safety.
Okay, great. So if you can't buy a car which you can't secure, then why we are buying a gadget which is not secured? Do we see that stuff very religiously? Or
Yes, sir.
okay, and same was true 2 decades back?
No.
Yes. So that's why this word came in, nice to have to must to have. So earlier what was happening, we were not very furious about the security of our gadgets. Okay, so
Yes.
because let me take the example of the traditional mobile phones. So let's assume I have a traditional mobile phone and there's there's that I'll take example of the Nokia phone I used. You press on that central button and press on star, you'll be able to unlock it. Agree?
Yes, sir.
No hidden magic. Anyone who has the device in hand and clicks these 2 buttons, pushes these 2 buttons, they can unlock the device. Okay.
So earlier, usually we don't keep some security in our phone, but now we are putting lot of security like pattern locking and password and face recognitions.
Yes. So that
Mainly
is
for
exact.
security purpose. One thing, others should not see the personal things, and other things should not take our gadgets. So for that, we are going for passwords.
Yeah, that's exactly, and you nailed it well, and that is the exact shift I wanted to talk about here. Because earlier gadgets, the traditional phones were not smartphones, those phones were only having,
voice transmission.
Yeah,
Yes.
only voice transmission. You can only, probably if you steal someone's phones, you can pick up the address book, you can pick up the name and phone numbers. Okay. And even the uses of text was not much. So, you can still steal some information from the text message, but not to a good extent. But whereas if we talk about the, the recent latest phones, or I would say IoT enabled phones, there you can get a number of information about your bank accounts, about your OTP, about your health data, about your, probably, walking patterns and whatnot. Okay, so if you steal or hack a device, you get a number of things in your pocket. Okay, and that is the exact shift I'm talking here. The security or IoT security has moved from nice to have to must to have. Two decades back, as Satyam was mentioning, probably we would have or we were buying gadgets without having a must to have a security requirement. But this time we are very well aware or vigilant, because these gadgets have lot of data, personal and professional information, which if someone gets access to might be misused. So we want the security as must to have era. Okay, so that is the huge shift happened in last couple of decades. And thanks Satyabama to helping me out to get to this real-time example in everyone's mind. Okay, so why we are so much concerned about IoT? It's just another device, right? It's like we were having we used to buy phones earlier, and we are still buying phones. So why we are worried about the probably the sporting arguments are all of the same issues we have with access control, vulnerability management, patching, monitoring, etc., etc. So but just assume, try to imagine that your network with several billions of devices, okay, and any compromised device is a foothold on the network, okay. So any weak link in the whole network, that's traditionally we call up anything, the weakest link is something the Fox attack. I don't know how many of you are fond of either watching Discovery or probably in general reading about the the other population of our earth, about animals, okay. So typically, if you see that, how a tiger or lion or I would say one segment of animal, they attack to the other segment of animal. Okay, when they see, say, okay, with all due respect to, all our whole ecosystem, the our all animals. So let's assume, let's try to portray example that there's a tiger and there are say 100 deers on the field. So how would a tiger segregate its target? Any thoughts? Any comments? Like if there's a tiger and there are 100 a bunch of buffaloes or bunch of a group of deers, so which one the tiger would target?
The one which is weakest one, we can say, based
Weakest
on
one.
his assumption. Yeah.
Great, Kriti. Thank you. Any other comments here? Okay. Okay, so what has happened is typically if you read more about these animals, so they are very smart. I would say they are more smarter than us, and for in certain domains. Okay, so they would target the weakest amongst them, amongst the whole whole bunch of them. So it's like they would find out if there is someone who is already having trouble in walking. Okay, some kind of wound already, or damage in their leg, so that this guy is not able to walk fast, or someone who's really young enough who might not be able to run with a good pace. So they would go and target that particular segment of the animals. Okay, so similarly how hackers work, or in general the trend is we always attack the weakest link in the chain. Okay, whereas now if I see from the other perspective, the traditional I would say our thought process is that we don't want to spend on the low end devices. Okay, we assume that like why I need to secure this particular thing. It's like I'm not gonna use it more on the technology front. Okay, but in the later part of the presentation I'll give you the example why the weakest link needs to be secured. So I'll park this here, but I'm gonna pick this up later part of our discussion as we move forward in our presentation. Okay, let me ask this question. Why are we concerned about IoT security? And I'm expecting a bunch full of answers here. I'm glad that I'm being surrounded with most of the faculty across India here on this call. So I already see a raised hand. Komal Jadhav has raised your hand. Yes, Komal, go ahead.
Yes, in IoT, everything that we are connecting is having its own IP address, its unique identity, and through the network, anyone then can hack our system and they can control the devices they want instead of the way we want.
Yeah,
So for
great.
that purpose, IoT security is required.
Excellent. Thank you. Thanks, Komal. Okay, so maybe Komal or anyone else on the call, and I would like to see a diverse answer from that management lady on the call as well. That why are we concerned more about IoT security than securing any other device or any other security or probably say household security? Okay, let me ask this question. Okay, I see a comment coming from Satyabama again. We are transmitted our personal data, so we need more security transmit. Okay, we are transmitting our personal data. Yeah, totally agree. And a lot of this data is there in our smart device, and we are not aware of. I'll give you example of again, it's a personal one. I'm very hard fan of iOS. So myself and everyone in my house, they have a Apple device only. And it's not about the Apple device. Even if you go to an Android phone, by default there's a lot of healthcare monitoring system in your phone. How many steps you've taken, how many how many run you have done, what was your pattern of walking, how many times you have both of the feet on the ground while you were walking. Okay, and there are a lot of menu data available with all these smart gadgets. And what if someone gets the access of it? Okay, so let me give you example. All your health monitoring data, if an insurance company gets grab of it, and they can see that, okay, your life pattern is such that you hardly walk, so it's more probable that you may end up getting into diseases like hypertension or blood pressure or a heart related disease, that if you're not personally active on the exercising or walking front. Okay, so if this data is given to insurance company, and if you end up applying an insurance to the company, they would end up charging you high premium. Agree? Let me give you another example. Let's assume you have a smart car which can make out your driving pattern. If you speed a lot, or if you don't because there's always a pattern. As I was giving you example, these smart devices, while doing your walk, they could make out that how many times there was a abnormality in your walk, in your walking pattern. So in walk, this one of the data point is when both of your feet were together on the ground while you were walking. So typically it's like you take a one feet and another is in the air, and then this feet lands into the ground, the other one is in the air. Okay, so they can do this very minute judgment. So then let's assume what would happen for a car. It can make out generally you speed up more, generally you tend to take sharp turns. Okay, and with all this data, they can put in some algorithm and make out how more likely you are to meet with an accident, or if not a proper accident, probably having more wear and tear to your car, because if you really speed up and then take a standstill brake, most likely it's going to damage your car more. Okay, so all this information, if an insurance guy gets in, he would charge your premium based on your driving pattern. If you are going to resell your vehicle, and the guy, we have a lot of the second-hand reselling options available now in India, these guys would get to know from this pattern what kind of unknown damage you had already done to your vehicle, so they would accordingly value your car. Okay, so all this information silently we are giving or handing over to others, and if the folks get it, they might make 10 meaningful things out of it. Okay, and that's the reason we really want to secure this information, because no one on this call would like to pay more premium to insurance guys. Okay, so now we let me ask this question. We have all faculties here. I'm sure everyone on this call has written at least one exam in their lifetime. Now you guys are in a position where you write question papers, and the exams are written by someone else, the answer sheets are written by someone else. But kindly raise your hand if you haven't written even a single exam in your life. Okay, no hands raised. So now let me ask this question. Uh, what is the typical beauty of these examinations? What we do in this exam? Anyone? I have a lot of faculties here. Anyone can try
Check
to.
the knowledge that students have received.
Oh, great. Thank you. Thanks, Komal. Check the knowledge that the students have received. Okay. Anyone else want to add up something here or elaborate more on this?
Indian exam scenario take care of the things we have memorized so far in the examination.
Great, Kriti, a good perspective that, how well you grasp it and how well you can go and reproduce it in your answer sheet. Okay. And I think we need to work to change this gradually. You agree, Kriti?
That's really the need of the hour.
Certainly. And, I would love to partner with you folks if you think on the similar lines. I'll share my credentials towards the end of this, talk. So do connect with me offline if you think so, and how we can, partner to bring up that change. Anyone else? Kindly unmute and speak out. It's your time.
So actually, these exams kept for knowing the students how far they have understood about the subject and how far they can able to implement the subject. But actually happening is they are just memorizing the concept and writing it for scoring the marks. So the pattern of exam is to analyze the students' capacity and students' understanding ability. But the things happening is only the memory capacity we can able to judge.
Yeah. And Satyama, I see a lot of scope here. And even, if the set of good faculty we have here, even if we can bring out a 1% change, I'm just asking about a 1% change in this whole, that would be a good value add to each student you're teaching. Okay. And I'm always open for it. Do call me up, do discuss, fix up a slot, how do we bring that change? Yeah, good perspective. And Harshini has mentioned that retention of memory. Great. Any other perspective? I'm still missing the answer. I would love to hear. I'm still missing that. Quickly, guys. Anyone else has any other perspective? The last call before I move forward. Anyone else want to add up? Come on, I expect a lot of answers from this, this crowd who has lot many, experience in this domain.
Sir, instead of having the written pattern examinations, we can have some practical examinations for the students. Whatever they have learned, they can implement as a product. They can come up with a new product, a new concept, or new ideas. Based on that, we can evaluate it.
Great, great. Okay, thanks Satyamama, thanks Kriti and others. So let me try to phrase the thing I wanted to bring up from from your side. Oh, before that I have something from Madhu Kumar: solve domain related challenges and their readiness to crack them. Great. So what typically happens in a good exam, in an examination, there is a well-defined problem statement. Am I right? You agree? The problem statement is well defined. Yes, Kamal.
Yes, and we just have to elaborate that.
Yeah, and Madhu said yes as well. Okay, so now what is bad about IoT? The bad about IoT exam is the problem statement is not well defined. This is very unfortunate. Do you agree with this statement that in IoT the problem statement is not well defined? Anyone disagrees or your perspective?
Yes.
Okay. So now we want to solve a challenge for which the problem statement is not defined well. So I am sure many of you folks here would be have the doctorate degree with you. So what we do in PhD or in doctorate, we spend initial couple of quarters or at times year just to define our problem statement well, and the rest of the time we attempt to solve the problem. But here, unfortunately, in IoT, this whole IoT ecosystem, the problem statement is not that well defined. It is an evolving problem statement. It is a problem statement which might fit into one gadget, but might not be even applicable to other, or it might be partially applicable to other. And if you don't have a well-defined problem and you're asked to give a solution, that solution can't be perfect always. Am I right? So let me give you an example. Suppose you have a bulky industrial IoT application, a huge system sitting in one part of some, production house, manufacturing site. Now to secure that device, a different kind of, security set is required. On the other side, you have a small Fitbit, on your wristwatch, and it would certainly need a different kind or level of security. So if you have a solution for industrial application, that might not be applicable for this one, and the vice versa. Let's take an example of a pacemaker which is inserted inside your body. You can't take it out every morning, or and do the updates and then insert it back. Agree? You're with me on this? Yeah. So this is the biggest challenge I personally seek, feel in terms of IoT security, that the different set of devices have different set of challenges, and if you implement a solution, that can't be generalized over the whole segment of devices. Okay, with that, let me give you a little quick glimpse of a few of the IoT security incidents in last few years. The list is not exhaustive, so these names are just placeholders, and you might be already familiar with few of these hacks, like Komodo hack, which was one of the major hacks happened on a website data leak. Things like SternX, where nuclear configuration was compromised, and you can just make out if someone gets hold of your nuclear plant, even the nuclear power generation plant, what kind of damages it can do the city or to the community. Things like DoD hacks, where a space station was compromised. Things like Operation Shadi Rat, where key government data was compromised. Operation like TJX, where about, I think, more than 170 million credit card data was stolen. Operations like Mirai botnet, where big DDoS attack was done, and ATM hack, which happened in a good level in India. All of you must be aware of, where a lot of ATMs were compromised. So these are just the placeholders. I said earlier, these hacks were happening once in a while, and now they are happening almost daily, or I would say multiple of them happening within the given day across the globe. Okay, so this is the the level of vulnerability we have on IoT IoT devices. Okay, so let's just look for an IoT security outlook. Okay, and this is my personal take here. I might not be perfect or best on it, but what I strongly feel is IoT security needs to be needs to be an important checkpoint, or must to have at the time of conceptualization of your device. Okay, so just tell me, you're with me on this particular statement or not, that we should take care of IoT security at the time of concept stage itself. Yes or no? Anyone who feels no, this is not happening, should not be happening. Okay, and let me ask you why. Anyone? Why not we should have this at the concept stage, or why should we have it at the concept stage? Anyone wants to add up? Come on, guys, you said yes. Then you need to
clearly define a problem.
To clearly define a problem. Great, Harshini. Yeah, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, so traditionally what was happening, okay, I have a comment from Madhu Kumar. Yes, sir, to evolve as a safer system. Okay, so Madhu, can you unmute and explain more about this? Madhu, if you can hear us. Oh, sorry, it's, you have issue with the audio. Okay, let me try to, try to give you a real world example. And I'm fond of giving these real world examples, and I'm kind of known, in a lot of these talks about this real world example, because that makes more, better understanding for us. So let me give you a layman example again. How we secure our houses. We construct our whole house, and at the end we realize, man, I need to secure my house. Let me put a good strong gate at the entrance. Okay, maybe a good door lock, and then probably a typically traditionally, if you see in most of our part of India, we have a metallic gate at the entrance, so that no one can compromise, or get in or intrude inside my house. Okay, you agree that traditionally we secure? And if I'm right, Satyama mentioned, I hope I'm pronouncing the names well. Yeah, Satyabama mentioned that to secure her valuables, or anyone of us, we keep them inside the locker where we can key in well or latch in well. Okay, so we have option to put in those doors, or I would say at the time of planning our house, we keep that provision. These are the doors where I can lock and secure my house. Now let's think about a IoT system or IoT device where you created the whole device, and at the end of it you realize, man, I need to secure it, because we never talked about security at the concept stage. So now, what you would end up doing if you want to secure it at the end stage is probably, you'll put some physical kind of security to it, so that it is tamper proof. No one can, hack it. But if you have the security as a must thing at the time of concept itself, then probably while you're designing, your subsystems or systems or super system level kind of things, then you would take care of security at each of those levels, and you have multiple layers of security, and your device would be more foolproof. Agree? Next is implementation. So at the concept, if we have security, we would certainly make sure that it is getting implemented. But if at the time of concept we don't have this thought, then it would never be, penetrate through all the layers of security which we would like to have in our device. And services of these devices is really important. Any takes, any views on the services side of any of the IoT devices? Any comments here, guys? Okay, so let me move forward. So what happens is we have seen multiple incidents where a secure device gets compromised when it is when the services are happening on it, or when you're patching the device, when you're refreshing the OS, etc. And we have seen such such hacks happen where someone wanted to patch a whole system, and the whole system went standstill, and got hacked off. So that is very important thing we need to, while we conceptualize our whole device, we should think through, okay, when I'm doing the upgradation of the device, or when I'm patching the device, what all things I need to take care of. Then end of life, very important, and unfortunately no one cares about it. So once your gadget is out of life, you would end up putting it in a bin. A smart guy would come, pick it up, do reverse engineering, and get hold of your data. Do you agree on this? Do you think each one of us individually or our organizations are careful about it? Any comments here? Okay, so I'll move forward, but I feel this is one of the strong part, and we have seen devices which are used for a prolonged period of time are more likely to hack than the the latest of the devices. And one of the hack that ATM hack we talked about, and that hack was due to the in the operating system being used on in those ATMs was so old that the hackers got time to really study through to find out the loopholes in the whole system, and then go and hack it from the weakest link. Okay, so with this, let's talk about the various system for this whole Outlook. So one of the first is access control. The access control is set of selective restriction which we put in place so that the device or the resource is foolproof. So it's like let's take example of various level of access inside your institute. So the students would have a first level access, say maybe within the lab they can do the access, okay, and as an lab technician or lab superintendent probably would have a relatively bigger level of access, and you being the faculties probably would have a better superset of access, and at the admin level or management level they would have a bigger level of access. So what if this access control gets compromised? Okay, the people who are sitting at the down of the value chain may get access to the top of the whole value chain or the system, and that would be a big compromise or risk to this whole system. I just realized, we are not doing good in the time. It's already 11:37, so I'll little speed up here. So similarly, we have this single sign-on SSO. So where what happens is, we with one access granted, the whole system is open to everyone. Okay, so ideally, it's like in each session, user can switch to different applications without need to enter their IDs or passwords. So you might do enable a SSO for a device which is not that having a critical set of data, but now this hacker or intruder can get into this device and can get to the next level of device which might have some sensitive set of information. So every device in the whole chain has to have restricted access control, and SSO should be well planned so that the sensitive set of devices doesn't get one click access if you log into the lower set of devices. IoT botnet. So it's an IoT botnet. It can be termed as a bunch of hacked computers, smart devices connected to internet that can be co-opted for illegitimate purposes. Okay. So what happens in such kind of scenario? Typically, the hackers, they initially access remotely a computer or a device without owner's knowledge, and then they get penetrated to other devices. So can you give me an example of this? Anyone on this call? Come on, folks. I'm speaking for last 100 minutes now, and I can still speak for next 20 minutes. I want you to speak up. Any example of IoT botnet attack you might have heard about? Looks like I need to hand.
I'm not very sure about it, but SBI account case was there. I was not very sure that's a botnet attack or not, but in which the account details of some of the people are presented on the net, and people have misused it also. So whether it's an example of it, but I'm not very much sure about it.
Thanks, Kriti, for bringing this up. Madhu said to flood social networking site, these bots are created by hackers. Yeah. Anyone else want to add up here? I see Vinod. Yeah,
Mirai malware attack, which was happening in 2016.
Mirai attack.
Due to the webcams.
Yeah, Vinod. Yeah, that's right. And Vinod, you are from which institute?
VIT Vellore. Tamil Nadu.
Yeah, I know VIT. Yeah. Oh, great. Anyone else want to add up anything here? Any such example?
Is a shopping pattern which is detected by the our website access. Is it also considered to be the example of the botnet?
I would partially agree.
The recommendation system I'm talking about.
Sorry, come again. Sorry?
I'm talking about the recommendation system. As one of the my colleague mentioned over here, that the website are flooded with the options which we have searched in the past or so. So recommendation system is one of the motive behind that. So is it an example of botnet? I'm just curious.
I would not call it a botnet example. I'll give you another appropriate botnet example. Let me hear back from others. So Vinod, you're done, or I see you raised your hand again. Okay. So anyone else before I move forward? I think I need to speed up a little fast. So Vaibhav, if I'm not wrong, we have time till 12 noon.
Yes.
Okay, so we have more 90 minutes to go. So the example I want to talk about is like, you know, what happened. It's been about eight years back or more than that. There were set of malware functions of emails which were getting generated through a device. Okay, and that device was sitting inside a house. Okay. When they backtraced, finally they got to nail down to us a house from where, you know, this whole data was getting generated. So now let us assume this particular thing is inside your house. So can you try to make a guess which device was that?
Alexa
Or which device
data
could
was
be?
getting high.
Alexa, okay.
Alexa or Siri.
Good example.
Siri is not
Yep.
there because Apple is having their own security mechanism. So Siri cannot be there. Alexa will be there. Google Assistant can be a part of that.
Alexa, Google Assistant, Siri. My kids are very fond of Siri. You know, anything vague I ask them, they go smartly, turn on Siri, get the answer, and come back to me. Okay. Any other thing you can think of? I see Kriti only participating. No one else. Okay. So yeah. So let me bring that to your screen. So this happened in late 2013, and the culprit was a refrigerator sitting in a conventional household. So what was happening was, whenever we buy a gadget, we secure them. Okay, but please be honest, have you ever tried to secure your refrigerator or a smart oven with a good password protection? Do you really care about it?
No.
Most of the times, no.
Most of the times, no. Weber also said no. Anyone else want to put in perspective? So, we are typically not good at it. Most of us, I see that in Julie Dubey also said no, because what is happening is we feel no one is going to hack my refrigerator, and why would someone would be, no one would like to come and steal vegetables or fruits sitting inside my refrigerator. But what is happening is now this guy, refrigerator, we have the smart refrigerators who can connect to other devices. So let me take an example of traditional stuff. So in India we buy milk on daily basis, but in a lot of Western countries the milk is bought up bi-weekly. Okay, so let's assume there's a smart refrigerator sitting in one part of the world, and it says that okay, it can sense the quantity of milk left over in the refrigerator, and if we have put in a lower threshold, it can trigger a signal to the milk vendor saying that, look, I'm running out of milk. I have just stock for next 2 days. Why don't you deliver another quantity of milk to our doorstep? Okay, so all these kind of secondary tasks, we don't want to do it ourselves. We'll delegate these tasks to our devices. So this refrigerator can communicate to your vendor and place a milk order. Okay, and probably that communication might get routed through your mobile phone or a laptop. So refrigerator would connect to your mobile phone, and the mobile phone, the other app, or would place an order to the vendor. Okay, so if someone gets inside your refrigerator, it will get access to your mobile phone, and your mobile phone might be connected to 10 other devices, including your laptop. So through this refrigerator to mobile, and mobile to your laptop, and finally at your laptop, you have Pandora of information from your bank accounts, your passwords to your e-passports to whatnot. So by securing our refrigerator, we could secure the whole household. But at the same time, we are traditionally of the view that okay, no one is gonna bother about my refrigerator password, then I need not to secure it. Hope it makes sense what I'm talking about. Okay, so similarly, there was a hack happened to a Jeep car, wherein this guy, the hacker, got access to the whole car's braking system through a radio channel. So when you're no one ever thought of that someone needs to secure the radio channel. You never thought of securing your FM radio. Okay, but this guy was able to get access to the whole through the radio channel, and finally took control of the whole vehicle. Okay, so we need to be very cautious even about the weakest link in the whole chain. Okay, and then things like DDoS, which is quite frequent these days. Where attackers they give they have multiple I would say multiple non-natural kind of demands being generating and then choking the whole system. Okay, let's talk about the IoT security challenges and complexity. I'll go a little fast here to wrap up in next some time. So one of the first challenge I see is low budget. Most of the generic purpose devices, they are very low in budget, and which limits security to only providing physical tamper proofing. So it's like if you don't have a high budget for the device, you can't put a multi-layer security, and that's one of the challenge why our IoT devices get compromised. Other is small size. We want the smallest of the device in our pocket, and the smaller the size is it's like the smaller the play area is, the security at times takes a back seat, and you want to only implement the must to use kind of IPs, and you can't add up additional IPs because that would increase your area and probably the price and probably the size of your device, and that becomes another reason why the security gets compromised. Third is physical access. So easy physical access, like your two smart lights which are hanging outside your house, no one wants to secure that. It's the same example I gave for the refrigerator issue. So if your device is a smart device which you're controlling through your mobile phone, then I can hack the device, get to your mobile, to your laptop, and to all of your network and system. So next in line is wide range. As we discussed, the IoT devices, they are there's a wide range of devices, and one size doesn't fit all. The one kind of security system can't be implemented or replicated to the other device, and vice versa. Always on, this is again a huge issue. The devices are turned on. It's like if you want to safeguard a device for only 9 to 5, probably would be I would say relatively easier than a device which is communicating throughout the 24 hours a day and throughout the year and to the whole virtual world. Long device life, I feel it's a huge threat. What has happened is anything which you produce today or bring to market today, and if the lifespan is for years and years, so what happens is over the time the hackers, they gain access or make a better understanding about the whole system, and gradually they start understanding the whole concept about behind it, and then the probability of unearthing a loophole becomes easy. Okay, the time span is again a crucial thing. It's like the physical locks we have in our cars, and over the period you lock a new technology in probably a mechanical way of locking the car, but over the period that the hackers or the bad part of the globe would get to learn about it and try to find out a way out of it. So anything here before I move forward? I think I'm left with only 10 minutes. Okay, so to me, the IoT security has 3 element triangles. First is availability, second is integrity, and the third is confidentiality. So all this make the whole security sphere, I would call it, which we call typically AIC. So these 3 elements are available. The availability is the only access to authorized person. How do we give access to only authorized user and could identify the non-authorized user, or the people who have access to limited space and the rest of the access is not available. Integrity is the information is accurate and trustworthy. Any kind of change in the information pattern, or change in the pattern from the previous day or previous sign off to now could be detected, and confidentially a set of rules that limits access to the information. So probably the most crucial part of the information is only accessible to a limited set of users. So what we can do to prevent, we can, the major technology vectors for any smart device are, sense, think, connect, and act. And I'm glad that, as an XP, we have, we are very strong in all these aspects, So from, everything aware to everything smart to everything connected to everything efficient. So we are positioned across all these required building blocks, and everything safe and secure is something at the core of our organization. So as you can see, we have solutions or impact in each of these spheres, be it IoT security elements, embedded security, secure authenticators, automotive security, or secure auto networks. Like automotive, we have different SL levels of automotive devices, like SL A, B, C, and D segments. So we have a good presence or a good whole number of solutions across all these, from sense to think to connect to at segment. And I'm personally involved in this S32 automotive solution and platform, and chips which are scalable, secure, and are compliant to SLD kind of standards. So these are the chips which comes under my preview of S32K series of chips which our company is into. So we are positioned to deliver full system solutions to the world-class connectivity portfolio, combined with the unique MCU MPU things, adding trusted security, safety solutions to maximize depth and reach of customer access to all these markets of automotive, industrial, mobile, communication, and infrastructure. So, NXP secure connectivity, this complete portfolio, as you can see on the screen, to, ultra wideband, which I was talking earlier. It's a very unique and quite accurate technology to, 5G kind of infrastructure, to V2V, V2X kind of solutions, to, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth related, application solutions, to, Zigbee and whatnot, to, RAIN, RFID, etc. So we are well positioned, from in our portfolio in all of these segments. So quickly, what we can do to prevent. So I think we can accommodate IoT with the existing practices. We need to have strong policies, procedures, and standards in place across the set of all the offerings. We should do more awareness trainings. At least we need to make aware the elderly and the young kids at home how to use the device, what are the do's and don'ts about the device. And I feel don'ts are more important than do's. We should have a risk management in place. Suppose first set of devices are compromised, and how do we isolate those set of devices so that rest of the network or infrastructure is is not compromised. We should have good vulnerability management and forensics in place to prevent such kind of attacks. So what can we do to prevent plan for IoT growth? Having additional types of loggings, additional type of log storages, new types of IPs like IP4, 6, etc. Increased network complexity. Should these devices be isolated or segmented? There's an open question, because if we isolate or segment them, then it's good to prevent any kind of intrusion, because only a single set of device would get compromised, but at the same time you would not have that deep latching up or connectivity happening across. So with this, this gets me to the end of this whole session. I strongly feel, change is the most strongest thing in the present world, because it's the only constant thing which is happening, which is changing or evolving every day with every technology, every solution. And I would like to close the session with this, this quote from Charles Darwin. And it's not the strongest of the, spices that survives, nor the, the most intelligent that survives. It is the one that most adaptable to the change. So same goes with our systems. The system, if they get upgraded well in time and evolve with the time, the technologies are ongoing, the better we'll be able to secure them. So these are few of the references, and I would call this off with a huge thank to everyone on the call, to being patient and listening me with all the care and giving me your all attention. So this was really amazing to talk to you guys. I would open the forum for any questions. I'm fine to stay back for another 5-10 minutes for the follow-up question. I request you to kindly be in touch if you think I could be of any value add to you or to your organization or to your any initiatives. I would, I'll be more than happy to connect and speak and discuss with you guys. So with this, I'll take a pause and I'll be open to any questions you guys might have.
The participants, if you have any doubt, any question you can ask. You can ask to the chat box, or you can ask directly to the expert, Preet Yadav sir. We are receiving.
Hello, sir.
Yes, please.
So thank you very much for such an excellent, very informative session. I'm having one question. Sir, I'm from computer stream, and I'm very much interested in this Internet of Things area. So how can I start, or how I have actually I am a teacher. I have taught ubiquitous system and pervasive systems. So there I got the theoretical knowledge of that, but how I proceed to these practical things, and is it feasible for me without electronics? What is my role actually there? So can I go with that, or kindly guide, sir?
No, so there's no good or bad set of qualification required for it. Okay, and IoT is impacting every sphere of life in every field. A mechanical engineer, a civil engineer, a biotech guy, computer science, IT, every domain is we have applications of IoT. Okay, and you need not to be pre-qualified. It's not there's no minimum requirement. Look, you need to go and write a BTech in EC, only then you can work on IoT. There are different segments of it where you can work on and get started with. I have shared on screen. I think you guys can see my credentials. You can connect to me or send me a message if you I'm not sure whether you guys are sharing my email. I can share my personal mail to you, not the official mail here in the broader audience, but certainly you can get in touch with me through LinkedIn, or you can write to me, which is my first name Preet.Yadav, my second name @gmail.com, and I can in here, and I would love to guide you, but there's no such minimum prerequisites. It's just a good level of motivation and interest. That's what all you need to get into, Bhagyashree. So based on your background and interest, probably we can discuss, and I can guide you what would be the right place for you to get started with.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir. I got your email ID, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
So Bhagyashree, you asking this question itself says that you are into it, and I strongly believe beginning is half done. Okay, so I think I see a good beginning in you, and I'm sure you can proliferate further in this.
Yes, sir. Thank you for motivation, sir.
Yep, great. Anyone else has any questions?
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning, Ankush.
Yeah, it's very informative session, sir. Sir, actually, I am from instrumentation background, and I want to interface this transmitters and the control valves by using this IoT techniques. Means I'm using Raspberry Pi or the Arduino board, Arduino microcontroller. Then how I will interface with the mobile?
Yes, so typically, I'm being called to lot many master's thesis evaluation in many colleges and a lot of IEEE and other forums where we evaluate projects of students, and I see a lot of things happening in Raspberry Pi and Arduino, and most of the guys, they end up triggering a relay. Okay, and once you're done that, then you can control any of the device. Okay, so most of the folks I have seen, they have done this interface to turn on or off a motor or a LED. Okay, but now it's just you need to scale it up to trigger a relay so that you can control any of the device. So I feel it's easily doable. I don't see big things happening. I see a lot of people, they have used integrated Alexa in the home. Alexa, turn off lights or dim the lights, or turn on the music system, or whatsoever, and all this are practically being done. And certainly I don't think any challenge happening here, but if there's any well-defined thing where you got stuck, you can write to me and we can talk more about it, but it is very much doable.
Sir, thank you, sir. Sir, just only for on-off it is easy, but if you are doing controlling, means if you are implementing PID loops, that time I face some problem.
No, so what happens is, now let us assume there's a device which has only 3 set of user control. Okay, so you can only go and control those 3 sets. You can't customize it more. So it's like the device which you want to control, what kind of flexibility the manufacturer has given for you as external control, because all the controls APIs are not in open domain. Okay, and you can only plug in the things which are in open domain, wherein you can get to the granularity. So it's like the regulator of our home fan. So if you see, the traditional regulator used to have 1 2 3 4 5, and there are some regulators which have only 1 2 3 or 1 2 4. But now then there are some regulators which are available in market where you can fine tune gradually. But what is happening is, in the background, if you open and it's just V is equal to IR, you are just changing the R, and accordingly your V and I is
voltage will
getting
change.
affected. Yeah. So it's the same concept, but it depends on what kind of granularity or control as a device it's being provided to user. So that would define what all you can do.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yep. Thank you. Thanks, Ankush. All the best.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So, sir, I have one question. People are asking for the slides. So can you share these slides?
Vaibhav, I really need to ask my office legal team before sharing anything written, and I need to put in a request, and based on that, I can, share the slide deck. But at the same time, anything specifically, if someone needs, feel free to reach out to me. I would, love to help you out. But before sharing anything outside, I need compliance approval from my office, from legal, marketing, and the CTO office. So post that only that can be done.
So participants, if you require any specific slide or specific topic, you can ask directly to the PTR. It's fine, sir.
Yep.
So
hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, yes, I had a question. Sir, is it difficult to interface ESP8266, sir, with the cloud? Actually, I was facing difficulty in interfacing the ESP8266 with the cloud, sir.
No, so okay, let me try to generalize this. Okay, let us assume as a device, if I have a capability. Okay, let me say that let's take example of a traffic road. A traffic on a road allows us 1 lane, 2 lane, and 3 lane. Okay, so the maximum capacity is 3 lane only. So you can't have more than 5 cars going in the same time. Okay. Similarly, for each of the device, I need to go and check back whether they have provided a cloud interface or not. So if there's a cloud interface, then there would be a way out. Okay, but typically it might happen so that way out might not be straightforward. So we need to more dig into the literature. It's not, I would say, top of my mind, but yeah, we can try to read through more to find out. And at the same time, the capabilities and capacities are being defined by the manufacturer. So if it is not in open domain, then you do whatsoever. You need to be a hacker to get into the device to do that. But I can't say this openly without actually getting into the program statement and reading about the device. So I can't really comment on this at this time.
So, sir, I also asked few people about that. So they were telling like better could go for Node MCU, use the Node MCU, and then try for interfacing with cloud and all.
No, so cloud interface is something it's like if I have a particular mode not enabled for my device, then you can't make benefit of it. I'll give you a practical example. What happens is, in few of the chips in the industry, the chip might have some additional capability, but if we mask that to the end user, you can't use it. Okay, so it's like the open, I would say, a lot of APIs in the devices are in the not in the public domain, so you would never be aware of those capabilities, and then certainly you would not be able to use it unless you have a deep understanding and you kind of become a hacker and get to the second layer of the device and make use of it.
Thank you, sir.
Yep, thanks, Vaishali.
So we're about to close this session. So first of all, I would like to extend my thanks to Preet Yadav sir for explaining very in-depth knowledge of this IoT security and IoT perspectives. And practically he explained details of what are the security issues with the IoT system and how to handle these kind of issues. He make his presentation is very interactive for the participants, so the participants has interact directly to this speakers, and it is very interesting. And I'm receiving a chat box, the feedback from the chat box, that the information is very informative, very useful for the participants. So thank you so much. Thank you, Preet sir, for an excellent and for the innovative talk on the IoT systems.
Thank you, Vaibhav. It was really honored, and I really loved the interaction. And I still see there is a question from Mayuri Joshi. Very informative session, sir. How can we make this subject as project-based learning to involve students in learning? Certainly, we can do that, and a lot of the universities I know are doing it, and probably we can connect offline to find out. And I feel that's a better way to make students learn to do the practical implementation. It might be very small scale. It might be a bigger project which is done over the years. First set of students do the first part, the second set of students do the second part, but at the end of it, they'll end up, practically doing it. It's like, you need to go and teach them. It's like they would learn on the job. So certainly I'm in for such kind of collaboration, and we can, work out something on that practical aspect. I see another thing from Palvi. Can you show any practical session on Raspberry Pi? So Palvi, in industry, we work on a lot of advanced systems. Raspberry Pi and Arduino, I'm know is very famous amongst the student community. We can partner on that aspect, but if you really ask me to showcase you something today, sorry, I don't have. But I think a lot of applications, we can plan or design around it. Do connect to me offline, and certainly we can work out. But typically from industry perspective, we work on a lot of advanced stuff, and this first level of interface is more on the student side. But yeah, certainly we can. Okay, great. So thank you so much, Vaibhav, for inviting me, being part of this August gathering here, and sharing my words. And in turn, I really learned a lot from the session and enjoyed it. And I wish you all the best for rest of the session today and tomorrow. And I'll be more than happy if I could be of any help to you guys. So with that, I'll sign off and wish you guys happy learning for rest of the day. Take care.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
So participants,